So I have to take it.
That's the kind of win I was after.
Hey guys, this is Tom. Very nice game between Anthony and Sam. I always find these King's Indian defense games fascinating because you get these pawn rushes on both sides of the board. And it typically comes down to who gets to the other person first. And it's very difficult to navigate if you're playing blitz. And unless you're familiar with the themes and the moves, it's very difficult to defend because sometimes you have to take time to defend. And which pawns also do you push in front of your king to blockade, or do you exchange, and so on. But let's look at this position here on move 14, where Sam just played the move g5, and here with Anthony playing knight e1. Now this is not a blunder or anything, but here White had an opportunity to just blockade with the black pawns right away with the move g4. And this may seem like, well, aren't you just actually helping Black open up the position? Because if he takes f takes g, well, but we just take, f takes g, and then here, White's doing really well because, Black doesn't really have any attack. So that's really not that good for Black. And here, if he goes for knight f6, you just defend with h3. And yeah, if he sacrifices, you just take it, and then their bishop takes, you can just drop the knight back, and this bishop is defended. So if he takes, I take. And here, it's White's doing fine. He can just move the king over, put the rook on the g file, push f3, and he should be able to defend quite easily. And it might be actually White that's attacking. And so that position is also fine. The next move I want to talk about, however, also is here, instead of knight e1, also possible here is h3. And also this looks a little bit dangerous, right? Because you say, oh, you can just play g4, but you can just take that pawn and look at these pieces. The bishop, this bishop is basically, it's got no scope, right? This knight is blocking the queen. This knight is blocking this bishop. And well, let's say White just goes for, knight g6 here, which makes a lot of sense, right? But here you can just continue with your attack because this knight can't really move easily. If you move it here, I have a fork. Now the queen does not have access to the h file or the g file. And so the black pieces are kind of discombobulated, and they're gonna need to rearrange before they're able to pose any threats to White. Meanwhile, White's gonna try to break on the queen side. But let's look at what happened in the game. So Anthony here goes for knight e1. We have knight f6, and then knight d3, and then g4. And here's kind of another critical moment in the game where Anthony decides to play f3. Now, this is not like a blunder, but I think better would have been if you just go for g3. And here you're kind of blockading everything. And black doesn't really have any great moves like with the pawn. For example, if he takes, then you simply take back. And here white's just better because black no longer has an attack. White has a rook on the f file. And then, these knights are really not doing, don't really have any good prospects. And if you, let's say you go knight g6 here, then I can just go with my own attack. I'm still waiting for black to clarify the position on the king side. But Anthony went for the move f3, and after that, Sam goes to queen to e8, and then we get c5. Now, the computer here wants to just get rid of this pawn. He wants to play pawn takes, and after bishop takes, we just exchange everything and just blockade basically with the rook. And this is, black is slightly better here, but this is very defendable. We're gonna, scoot the rook over. We're gonna basically challenge this knight, maybe move the king over, and we should be fine here as white. However, Anthony goes c5, and then here we get queen h5, and again, white should take here. But instead he goes b5, and this is where this game could have almost been over because g3 here is pretty dangerous. And again, if you take that pawn, right, takes, and then you're just getting mated in 2 moves, right? You got to move the rook over and then just queen here, here, and here. That's one variation. If you don't take the pawn and you push the pawn, then black just takes it, and after takes, you got to go here. It's a checkmate threat, so you have to go up with the rook, but now, black can probably just go like knight g6, and then, yeah, I mean, it's bishop f1, let's say, and then here you just take, and after takes, and the king escapes, you get the knight here, and this is, +6 for black, so yeah, white's in a lot of trouble here. So it's really dangerous to allow black to play, this g3 move. But we get takes, and then Sam takes back, and knight b5. Again, we should have taken the pawn on g4, but here this is finally, no, not yet. Sam plays knight h4 first, and here we get rook f2. Now finally g3 happens, and here you have rook f1. And can you guys actually spot the mate in like 3 here? I'll give you guys about 5 seconds and then I'll show the solution. I could have just played knight f3 here, and it doesn't matter if you play with a bishop. Take it with a knight, you're just getting checkmated. So let's look at this. If you take with the rook, it's check, and that checkmate here. And then if you take with the bishop, then it's just checkmate in 1 move. And so that would have just been the quickest mate. However, Sam goes for pawn takes, which is still, winning. And then after king h1, there's king over. Yeah, he wants to bring the black rook over to attack that pawn. So, and then he goes back to f2, and we get rook g8, bishop f2 over protecting, and then he kicks the knight out, goes back, and here's a very nice move, bishop h3. Now computer says you could have just taken knight g2, and then after bishop g2, then you can play bishop h3, and this apparently is also completely winning. But we get g times h3, and then nice check here. This is all forced. Now it's a mate in 5 basically. Now the king has to take the pawn. He has no choice, so he takes the pawn. And then after knight takes, again, forced move here. You have to take the knight because you have nowhere to go. And after queen takes, yeah, here's where Anthony resigns because of this devastating prospect of queen h1 checkmate. The only move you really have to postpone the inevitable is take the rook, but then it's rook here, you have to go here, and then it's just made in two. So very nice finish by Sam. And let me guys know what you thought about the game in the comments below. Also, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.